looks like we're ready. Our next speaker is Kęstutis Juščius, CEO of AUGA Group. Kęstutis will talk about how AUGA will transform agriculture and the food industry. That's a bold promise, isn't it?
Yes, sorry, getting me. So it's missing few words. This was actually this mistake.
So you wanted to say
how AUGA will transform to net zero.
To net zero.
This is the next finish.
All right, makes it more specific. Enjoy. The stage is yours.
Thank you. So I'm Kęstutis Juščius, CEO of AUGA Group. So 9 years before I was not a farmer, but I established at first my company agriculture. 7 years before I established at first organic activity. And now we are the largest in Europe organic food company from field to shelf. Close to 38,000 hectares of farmland, 3,000 cows, 150 tractors, machinery, unfortunately few fossils, we still drive my machines. And 5 years before, we first time made CO2 emissions report. And even by being organic, which everyone thinks is really good, I found 70,000 tons emissions. And you know, guys said, okay, this is a really huge problem. If we can solve this problem, so it will be huge value for whom? To consumers. That's the story, how it started 5 years before. So, how we will transform it? There are 3 major things. First of all, we find the problems in the agriculture, we develop technology, we scale technology. The second, we share technology with farmers in the special way, a little bit franchise kind sharing principles, which farmers may need to work in our technology, in AUGA way. The result out of this technology will be carbon neutral food, 0 emissions from food. This will be results out of this. But it's important also to mention, the consumers, will get possibility to impact world climate change. By the challenges, we can take a product on the shelves and make it climate neutral and leave their families, leave their grandchildren, we live in the same world that we found that we born. So, but you know, the problem is always like technology. Technology in another industries you look on here, so transport, industry, energy, everywhere you can disrupt polluting chains only by technology. And then I looked in technology available, it was not possible. I can't find it. This is the one number problem. If you wanted to make it carbon neutral food, we need technology, and this was not exist. When I asked the John Deere president, can you produce for me 150 tractors fueled by methane, which is the most reliable source? The answer was no. So big corporations, we are not willing to change. So that's why we take it a challenge. We said, if you guys, you can't produce a tractor, so we produce by our own. I set up a team of 20 engineers, and we built in 2 years the tractor machinery, which drives on cow's manure. It's 1,000 horsepower tractor, electric one, hybrid system, which fueled with biomethane. Here is if you go on our videos, and we started biomethane operations in Lithuania, and this tractor already fed it from cow's manure. The corporates we can't do in 10 years because we don't see a market. Second thing, is also very important to mention, this is not about only fossils on the farms. Fossils on the farms is 1/3 of emissions. The second 1/3 is cattle. Cattle emissions, livestock emissions from ruminants, from the stomach, which we breed. This is the second, the largest emissions. And for this, we already established also teams 3.5 years before, will be working on different feed. Not pills which stop the ruminant fermentation, but the different feed. But cows will eat it and will be reducing emissions from the cow stomachs. This is the second innovation, which we already are very far, and we already have prototypes, machineries, and also we're testing on a production scale. The third one is another technologies which are missing next 1/3, which we also concentrate on this, and we will develop quite soon. Just to mention, so Europe community fights for climate change, and they will forbidden private cars will be not available in 10 years, will be not available to buy any fossil private car. But one private car in lifetime, they use the same amount of fuel of one big tractor per month. in season. And nothing happening here in this sector. But we completely forbidding for consumers, for small consuming cars. Will be in Europe equivalent. For the farmers, we can use whatever we want. This is not a way how to be. But why the technology is not, the big corporates will not produce technology for farmers to change? Because look on how the farmers looks overview. So we are small farmers, we are aging. We don't think that we are problem of world climate change. And for them, Green Deal, which politicians, we see 24% of emissions, we say you need to change. And for them, this is like a threat. Say, okay, I will reduce my incomes for my family. And that's why we're fighting against. So how we can change this? The problem is that farmers, actually, we don't have motivation to change. And the problem that farmers, we don't have ability to change. We don't have financials, resources. Even technology will be here. We can't afford to buy it. It's just we don't have for this any liquidity. So AUGA's proposition for these kind of farmers will be to join the AUGA community. Second, we need to work with sustainable practices. It's not that you join a community, you do whatever you want. You need to work. And then the result of our common work will be carbon neutral food. The carbon neutral food not on paper, not on greenwashing papers, which is very common now in today's practices. When you fill in forms and you're getting a paper, and get money for the paper. No, from activity of farmers' activity will be carbon neutral food, from his own activity. And it's important to mention that the farmer's result will be a better life, you gain more incomes for your family. That's what you will propose for the farmers. So how it will work? So in Lithuania, in my country where I was born when I started my activities here, and still this is a main company, my main our activities here. So we established above 20 hubs. These hubs will be like sharing economic principles to the farmers with new sustainable technologies. In these hubs, on this map, what you see here and behind, so we already established 3 biomethane production plants, which can produce 7.5 million liters of biomethane. It is 50% more what is needed for farming operations, 50% more. And this is already in operations. So this biomethane application will serve with biofuels the community of the farmers. But it's very important to mention that in this area, which will be, the farmers will be access to this technology, it's 20 times more that we are producing at the moment. So 700,000 hectares of farmers' arable land can join the community. Our aim in future is not work on Lithuanian land. We want that at least 10% of world farmers will join to AUGA community. And we can save together 1 gigaton emissions. 1 gigaton of emissions is equal of 50 times my country emitting in total. That is what kind of impact we wanted to create. And it will start here in Lithuania. So what is for farmers? Why farmers will want to join the community? First of all, because we have access to the technology which will bring not only sustainability, on carbon neutrality, but also gives efficiency. It's important to mention that you must to create efficient sustainability, sustainable, not only sustainable itself. So the farmers will be joining community, we have access to central purchasing organizations. We buy all the materials together, and we gain to being a large membership. The third one, we have access to the green capital, which is not available now directly to small farmer. Green lenders, we're lending to whatever, but not to small farmers. And third one, reduce the administrative costs. All the community can work, it will be not too much OPEX spent on this. So the farmers can do all the work from the app. So we don't need to buy the tractor, we don't need to invest in machinery. So the community will take care about this. So what we can also do, even if we retire in future, he can bring a phone to his son or daughter and he prolong the activity. At that moment, the farmer needs to sell his soil to his competitor, to his neighbor. So in future, we'll bring a phone or code an app. So the small farmers will by joining a community, will be the largest organization in the world. We buy from the cheapest sources, we get the most efficient technology, but only in the way if we keep sustainable practices. But does the consumers will want to buy from these farmers? Does the consumers want to buy? 70% consumers say, yes, we will buy. But I think this is declarations. There is a declaration. If you ask something which you don't check, does the people really buy in shop? This is declarations. But researchers are saying like this. So it's good for start. But also consumers, we want to keep these habits. We want to eat the food we ate yesterday, day before, and so on. Here on the picture, you see the plant-based products, today's market, all the meat and dairy, plant-based. You don't even see on the graph. But even in the forecast, the largest growth, still you don't see on the graph. But because the base for dairy and meat is so high, and will grow with incomes, growing incomes in the future, so the spread will be higher. So we not save the world with alternatives. We need to produce a normal food in better way. Normal food. But this food does not exist. If you ask consumers, say, do you know a company I wanted to support? And next question, do you know a brand which can deliver you your food you buy every day? Do you know? Actually, then nobody can realize it. Nobody does it before. The answer in the regions where AUGA will be active will be, yes, we know AUGA. And AUGA will be not a company, community, farmers community. So what will be approach to consumers? Consumers we declaring we want to buy, but to make it happen, you need to educate why his choices in the retail, supermarket is so important. Why? If they not will buy, the farmers will not change. And the farmers who do really good job, they need to be awarded. Awarded for consumers' choices. This is why AUGA in future will bring to consumers the story why we are impactors. And second important thing is that we can easily switch to sustainable food, and even more, we can get a better versions of a regular brands we use daily, but of sustainable versions with AUGA ingredients inside. We already started with we started already with brand marketing few months before. And the message is to consumers, join to no cost to nature. With mission, no cost to nature. Help to bring community on higher level. And this is actually like a test. What is consumer behavior on sustainability messages? This is no message about taste. There is no message about funny package. It's a message about different way inside food is produced. So what we will do, we will create a new category in food. It's not organic. It's not healthy food, which is organic in the mindset of consumers. It's good for planet. It's carbon neutral for planet. This is a new category in the food. And the category frontrunners will be AUGAs. But only AUGA cares about this. The largest food corporations, they have problem with sourcing materials. 71% in Nestle Corporation is coming from ingredients, from the farmers. And you can reduce the rest 29 mainly to carbon neutrality. But if the farmers will not change, Nestle never will achieve carbon neutrality, net zero, what we would like to do probably. If not 2030, it's 2050 or 2070, whatever. The promises are promises, you know. You bring a promise and whatever happens. So this is another, claims from big corporations. We wanted to be better, we wanted to be better, we wanted to be better. It was problem. There were no choices for corporations to get better food. How it fits together. So AUGA established AUGA community. A community that have three pillars. One pillar, which is important, AUGA Technology, it's a company, AUGA Technology, which responsible for identifying emissions in the farming, creating solution, and scaling this technology. Second, AUGA Co for sustainable organic farming architecture. So it's called our way to produce the food. Is this we're creating standards to produce in different way. We will create an organization structure that the farmers can share this technology certain way. And most important, the know-how, how to use this technology. Technology is not a simple thing. It can be very simple. It is actually in the farming, it is really complicated if you wanted to go to the neutrality. And there's a lot of know-how behind, including AI. AUGA Trade will invest in brand marketing, will share the messages with consumers, and will co-brand with big retail brands and FMCG brands. Why co-brand? Because we wanted to make the community larger. And where we can make a largest impact? The largest impact we make in the areas where developed countries. So there are big consumption of food in Nigeria, but we are just filling these requirements for the food, for the family, maybe for education. But in countries which people are wealthy already. So yeah, I seen yesterday presentation. In Switzerland, only 5% of the incomes going to the food. In Europe, community 20, United States 15%. Here in these regions, there are consumers who would like to help farmers to change. And then everyone asked me, how much, Kęstutis, you will sell tractors? How much? 100. I said, answer will be later. I don't fight for the market of agricultural machinery. This is 90 billion. I fight for to change the food chain. And for 2.5 trillion, 2.9 trillion, sorry for this. If the 10% of consumers, they not lie, so it's 290 billion market only in these two regions. And that's why agriculture and producers, we are not producing technologies. Because if we expect to sell 10% of agriculture market in sustainable way, we need bring all the resources to the R&Ds and develop this. If we don't believe about this 10%, we're just making efficient investments where we can gain money immediately and now. So we have already a project line how we will go to this goal. So we worked 4 years on developing technology. We see results, and we go now for scaling moment. So there are some projects which are already for implementation to make a massive productions. There are products which are finalizing prototype schedules. There are products which are on early stage. So whatever it happens, we finance it, all this technology developing by our own cash, from our own equity. So we invite everyone in hall and your neighbors and your friends to join our community from investor side. In fourth quarter, we prepare documentation and we will come to investors and make a proposition. While doing it, by getting returns, you will be the largest impact on the world. It's important to mention that if we see from which kind of sources could be transformation of agriculture happens. So in 10 billion euros were invested last year in all ag tech, food tech, all these things. Only Lithuania, for green industrialization plan, is 1 billion capital will be available. 1 billion only in small country Lithuania. In Europe, it's 300-400 billion. In the United States, there are also 400-500 billion from this anti-inflation acts. So the money is in the pool of changing industries is 50 times more from venture capital, which we see now. So that's why AUGA will combine both venture capital or private equity or whatever impact investors' money to the projects developing, to the projects scaling. But when it will be needed to bring on worldwide scale, so we'll use all the sources, including Euro funding and so on. And the goal and the result will be that AUGA will become a synonym of sustainable food and lifestyle worldwide. Thank you very much.